Alright, so I guess it's that time again. Another video on the Tippmann A5. And this time it's specifically going to be on the Cyclone Feed. So before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Just smash it real quick for me. I really appreciate it. And leave all your questions and comments down below as well. Alright, so the Cyclone Feed. It's been out forever for Tippmann. And whether you're just getting into Tippmann, just getting into paintball, or you just recently had one but you don't really know about it, I'm going to try to go over what it is, what I personally think about it, some upgrades that I have here, and then I'll also at the end of this video show how to take off the Cyclone Feed system, whether you want to clean it, you're going to upgrade it, or whatever. Alright, so I right here have a Tippmann A5, and this actually has an E-grip. Now the E-grip isn't too important to the whole situation, but it is a little bit in the fact that the E-grip allows you to fire fully automatic, and so that may be important as far as what do you think or how is it going to operate with a fully automatic system. So put this off to the side here. Cyclone Feed system, and I'll show that right now up close. So this system is pretty simple in design, and it works very efficiently and very well. So you can see there's a line right here that's connected to the Cyclone Feed system, and if I want to, I can actually physically ratchet it. And every time you ratchet it, as I showed before, it's going to feed right into the chamber to fire another paintball. This little hose is connected to the air system inside. So there's no electronics involved in this hopper system. It is basically feeding right off of the action inside every time and going to feed a new one. Now you can see in the Cyclone Feed system there's two sets of paddles in there. Now these are hard plastic, and the Cyclone Feed system itself is also hard plastic. Now it can fit about 15 paintballs in there, and then of course you got your hopper sits right on top, and of course, you know, however many your hopper holds, 200, 240, whatever. This is a pretty basic system where they're just going to sit on top and keep feeding, and then there's a little black lip in there that only allows one paintball to be fed into the chamber at each time. Now you may be looking like, man, SK, your gun's pretty dirty there. It is. Now I was going to clean it up for the video, and especially the Cyclone Feed system, and then I thought, how can I be lazy and make an excuse? No, sir. Kind of, but really why I left it dirty in there is to show you, I mean, things aren't perfect. I mean, when you're in your backyard and you just took it out for the first time, yeah, it's super clean and everything, but when you're playing in the mud, in the dirt, in the sand, wherever, things happen. And you're also going to break paint no matter how good the gun is. So I've had paint chop inside because it's either cheap, whatever, and obviously there's a hole right here on the side of the Cyclone Feed system to feed the paint inside. So if you break a ball in the chamber, some paint is going to get back into the Cyclone Feed system. So why did I leave it dirty? Just for the simple exercise of seeing that it will still feed shots and still shoot even when dirty. And I'll show a clip of that right now. So it's very important. I have a flatline barrel on here, so it definitely helps to clear paint throughout the barrel. But just to know you have a hopper system that's going to keep working, whether you have your gun in the dirt, whether, you know what I mean, you broke some balls in there at some point, it's just going to keep feeding, and that's an important thing. Now with the A5 E-grip, this definitely holds up, and I'll show it shooting fully auto right now. So it is more than capable of keeping up with what the gun is supposed to be rated at. especially with the e-grip. Now, I mean, some people have response triggers, or you just put a double trigger to kind of get it flowing a little bit. But once you're up to, 12, 15 paintballs a second, I mean, that's way faster than I can do. I mean, I'm ratcheting it 4 times a second. So it has to work a lot. Now, some people may worry, well, I'm going to chop balls and this and that, so let me kind of upgrade the system. Here, you have the Tech T squishy paddles. Very popular upgrade for the Cyclone system. Now, there's 2 different sets in here. One is the big set, and this is just like it seems. Instead, you take out, and I'll show you later in the video how to take this apart. Once you take these off, you just set this one down in there, and that's all you got. And then these 2 are pretty much just, what do you call it? A switch out for the ones that are in there now. So you can kind of decide and work with it. And I would suggest, if you already got them or you're planning on it, I mean, it's not a super expensive upgrade, so you can try them out. Now, here's where I want to go. Oh, using my gun over here. Oh, parts to it. Alright, so this is where I want to go with the video now and explain my personal thoughts on the Cyclone Feed and then my personal thoughts on these squishy paddles. The Cyclone Feed is a big enhancement to a Tippmann paintball gun. Now, yes, it does take up some space on the side that a normal marker would not have. That's true. Most people are right-handed. You kind of want to sit like this. But being a paintball gun, you could shoot from the top or from the left side too. It's really not that hard. And it is pretty low profile, but of course then you got your hopper on here. And even with the low profile hopper, it does obstruct your view a little from the right side. That's no lie. But anybody that's shot with one of these, I don't think it's been the biggest deal in the world. And I usually shoot from the left side or right over the top anyway, especially with the flatline barrel. It shoots pretty straight and accurately. So I really do actually use these sights. Not so much the back one like I'm really tightly aiming, but I will use the front sight and, look to see where I'm shooting at. Now, that's one of the drawbacks, is the cumbersomeness of it, that it takes up so much space on the side. But again, like I've shown in a couple of the videos of it firing, it really can keep up with the workload that you're putting through the gun. And it really does help to feed the paintballs in a lot better than a gravity-fed hopper. And honestly, even some of the electronic hoppers, unless you're going to spend a lot and you got a good setup and you kind of know what you're running, a lot of them are just kind of BS. Like, yeah, you just got the little thing in there, it just churns a lot, and it helps a little more than gravity, but I've seen a lot of them where it's just like, whatever. I'd rather save the 60, 80 bucks and just shake it real quick. Like, you need to find a good one that's really going to work for you. And be able to hold up to the elements and stuff like that too. So I really am a fan of the Cyclone Feed system. Now, these squishy paddles, personally, don't use this one. I don't like it at all. I thought it was, to me, my idea was, oh, this is going to be a beast. It's going to just, it won't have as much things going on in there. Like, it just seemed as if this would be the one to work really well. And I found that this one made me, it didn't really chop balls, because these are a little more flexible than plastic for sure. They are squishy. Like, you can see they do squish, right? So they have some give. But I found with this one that it seemed like sometimes it wouldn't feed paintballs all the time. Like, it gets skipped or something somehow. I don't know. I think it's the way they're falling down, and sometimes it was just collecting on top. Again, run your own experiments if you want to, but my personal opinion is I wouldn't run this one. Now, these squishy paddles, I've used a fair amount of time, and personally I thought, well, okay, these are pretty much replicas of the hard plastic ones in here. These should be good. They run better than this one, but I kind of felt like maybe they were too soft at some points, and they kind of let the other balls press into each other. I'm just kind of giving you my thought as to what may have been happening in the chamber. Now I think maybe one of the problems is there seems to be a little bit more of a gap on these squishy paddles. So I'm not sure if even that small little millimeter or two is what gives it a little more play with the paintballs. I felt like I've chopped a few more balls than I did with the hard plastic ones, and then same thing, once in a while I felt like I was getting like a misfire. So you can see I don't use them. I got this set up, and it's been in the plastic thing for a couple years now. Like, I used it for like one whole season, maybe half a season, and I just kind of wasn't impressed. I remember even one time switching out mid session at like a field. So if you want SK's personal opinion, I would save the money and don't bother. This plastic, these hard plastic ones in here, they just work well. And the other thing is, you're going through different fields and so forth, so the different kind of paint you may come across is, varies. I feel like this setup works well with high grade paint, low grade paint, everything. And it's very easy to wash, you know what I mean? It's very hard plastic. You just get in there with a paper towel that's wet and just ratchet it a few times with the paper towel, clean it up, go about your business. You can do the same with those, but I don't know. It's just, if I were to go back, I wouldn't have spent whatever it cost. I can't even remember what these are, 25, 45 bucks, something like that. So there's my thoughts on the squishy paddles. Now, if you have better experience, let me know. What kind of paint do you run normally? These may work well if you're running a super high grade paint, maybe, but I usually run mid grade, and again, it varies from place to place. So I just like this because it runs the best all the time, all around. It's all I can really say. So with that said, I'll do one more video or one more show of how it looks all around on the Cyclone Feed system, and then I'll do an up close view of me disassembling the Cyclone Feed system, so you could see how you pull it off of the side of the marker, how you disassemble it from the air system here, and how you can even take off the paddles and even the bottom piece if you want to thoroughly clean this gun. And I guess I should say thank you, because once I do all that stuff and have it apart, then I'm not going to put it back together until I clean it all. So you guys are doing me a favor. Pro tip. Many of you, if you're new to the Cyclone Feed system, it's going to feel very awkward putting your hopper in and taking it off. It will feel like you probably are going to break it. You're not. You just got to use a little bit of power. So you see this ridge right here? That's going to lock into this little latch right down there. But you can't just press it in. Now you will see there's a little lip. So if you have this notch right in that area, it'll slip down a little easier. Right? But you still kind of have to just work it in there. And now it's latched in. And if you want to take it off, pull it to the right and then kind of wiggle it up. Just like that. Now mine is a little easier. I've been using it for years, so it's worked in a bit. And I actually don't even use this one. I use a VMAX hopper. So even still, that one has a little bit of a harder case at the bottom. But yes, just take it, hold your gun to the right and twist up. Down. There you go. Just use a little bit of power, you'll get it done. SK Lifestyle Pro Tip.